welcome to my channel, Adanma's Plight, Episode 2. Mr. Peter was a tall, thin man with a stern expression. He always wore a suit and tie and carried a leather briefcase. He looked like a successful businessman, but there was something unsettling about him. The first few lessons with Mr. Peter were tough. He drilled Adanma with mathematics and science questions, never giving her a moment to rest. Adanma felt like she was in a boot camp, not actually a tutoring section. She began to dread the lessons, but her parents were adamant that she continue because they loved the drills. As the weeks went by, Adanma started to feel more comfortable around Mr. Peter because he now seemed to be softening, and she even caught him smiling at her once or twice. She began to trust him, and she started to look forward to the lessons. But she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off about Mr. Peter, though he suddenly started being nice and so helpful. But there was something in his eyes that made Adanma uneasy. Exactly 2 months into the lesson, Mr. Peter's attitude changed. He became colder, more distant. He started to make inappropriate comments, and Adanma felt a surge of fear. She tried to ignore him, but he kept pushing the boundaries. During one of their lesson sections, Mr. Peter told Adanma how smart and talented she is, but also said, "You are
naive. You need guidance and direction, and I am here to provide that."
Adanma responded, "Thank you, Mr. Peter. I appreciate your help." But he quickly interrupted and asked her to call him Peter instead.
"We are friends, aren't we?" he asked.
Adanma nervously responded, Yes, Peter." And Mr. Peter smiled and continued,
"You're so beautiful and innocent. Don't be shy. Just feel free around me. We are friends, and I am here to help you."
As the days went by, Mr. Peter's behavior became increasingly erratic. He would make inappropriate comments, touch her inappropriately, and Adanma would feel a chill run down her spine. She tried to ignore him, but he kept pushing the boundaries. Another day, he touched her laps, and Adanma felt a surge of fear. She tried to pull away, but he held her tight. She realized too late that she was trapped alone in the house with a monster. Mr. Peter's eyes seemed to bore into her soul, and Adanma felt like she was being consumed by his darkness. She tried to scream, but her voice was frozen in her throat. She was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. And then, everything went black. When Adanma could realize what happened, she saw herself lying on the floor, her head throbbing with pain. Mr. Peter was standing over her, a look of concern on his face. But Adanma knew it was all an act, that the deed has been done. She knew that he had attacked her, and she knew that she had to get away from him, but haven't figured how to. She struggled to her feet, her heart racing with fear. She knew that she had to tell her parents, but she was afraid of what might happen. She was afraid that they wouldn't believe her, that they would think she was making it up. But she knew that she had to try. She also knew that she couldn't keep silent any longer. With a surge of courage, Adanma ran out of the sitting room into her room, determined to tell her parents the truth about Mr. Peter. She knew that it wouldn't be easy, but she had to try. Adanma's world was turned upside down that day Mr. Peter first abused her. She had been feeling uncomfortable around him for weeks, but she had no idea that he was capable of such a wicked act. Adanma keeps remembering how she tried to push him away, but he was too strong for her. How he pinned her down, his weight crushing her, and how she felt like suffocating. The abuse continued for weeks, each section more brutal than the last. Adanma was trapped in a living nightmare, unable to escape the clutches of her tormentor, Mr. Peter. She felt like she was losing herself, like she was disappearing into a sea of pain and fear. Adanma's parents were unaware of her suffering. They were too caught up in their own lives, pursuing money and wealth, so they couldn't really notice the change in their daughter. They thought she was just going through a phase, or maybe she was being dramatic and attention-seeking. But Adanma knew the truth. She knew that she was being abused, and she knew that she had to find a way out. But how could she escape when she was trapped in her own home, alone and vulnerable? How could she make her parents see the truth when they refused to listen? Adanma felt like she was screaming into a void, her cries for help falling on deaf ears. And so the abuse continued, a never-ending circle of pain and fear that Adanma couldn't escape. She was trapped in a living hell, and she didn't know how to get out. The abuse continued for months, each day a never-ending struggle to survive. She felt like she was living in a constant state of terror, never knowing when Mr. Peter would strike next. Her parents were still not aware. They too caught up in their own lives to notice the changes in their daughter. Adanma became more withdrawn and isolated, unable to share her secrets with anyone. She felt like she was carrying a heavy burden, a weight that was crushing her. She began to doubt her own sanity, wondering if she was indeed to blame for the abuse. One day, Adanma's mother, Mrs. Amanda, came home unexpectedly, early from work. She found Adanma sitting at the poolside, staring blankly into the water. Mrs. Amanda noticed something was off, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. "Adanma, what's wrong?" Mrs. Amanda asked, her voice filled with concern. Adanma hesitated, unsure of what to say. She actually wanted to tell her mother the truth, but she was afraid of not being believed. I'm just tired, ma," Adanma stammered. Mrs. Amanda looked unconvinced, but she had to let the matter drop since Adanma didn't want to open up yet. She quickly entered her room, and Adanma breathed a sigh of relief, grateful that she didn't have to reveal her secrets. But deep down, she knew she couldn't keep hiding the truth forever. As the days went by, Adanma's behavior became more erratic. She started skipping school and giving flimsy excuses, unable to face Mr. Peter's leering gaze. She became more withdrawn and isolated, unable to connect with friends or family. Mrs. Amanda, her mother, grew increasingly concerned, sensing that something was seriously wrong. She tried to talk to Adanma, but her daughter remained tight-lipped. It wasn't until Adanma's grades began to go down again. Her teachers complained about her absent-mindedness in class that Mrs. Amanda realized something was seriously amiss. She had to confront Adanma, demanding to know what was going on. Adanma wasn't confident enough to reveal the secret to her mother because she was unsure of how the matter would be handled. One night, her mother, Mrs. Amanda, called her into her room. They had a long heart-to-heart talk. For the first time in 15 years, they had this deep connection between mother and daughter. Adanma was a bit relaxed with her mom and then decided to open up to her. Adanma broke down, finally revealing the truth about Mr. Peter's abuse. Mrs. Amanda was horrified, feeling guilty for not noticing the signs earlier. With tears streaming down her face, Adanma told her mother everything. The touchings, the threats, the feeling of being trapped and helpless. Mrs. Amanda listened, her heart heavy with regret and anger. When Adanma finished speaking, Mrs. Amanda hugged her tightly, promising to do everything in her power to stop the abuse and ensure that Mr. Peter faced justice. For the first time in months, Adanma felt a glimmer of hope. She knew that she wasn't alone, that her mother was there to support her. Together, they would face the truth and fight for justice. Mrs. Amanda's world was turned upside down by Adanma's revelation. She felt a mix of emotions, guilt, anger, and a deep sadness. She couldn't believe she had been so adamant to her daughter's suffering. She immediately went into protective mode, ensuring Adanma's safety and comfort. She stopped the lesson section with Mr. Peter and reported him to the authorities. The police investigation was a grueling process, as other students who were victims of Mr. Peter's abuse in the school opened up too. But Adanma's courage and testimony ultimately led to Mr. Peter's arrest, though after denying severally, and then his conviction. The verdict brought a sense of closure and vindication for Adanma and others. However, the road to healing was long and arduous. Adanma struggled with PTSD, anxiety, and depression. She faced the daunting task of rebuilding her sense of self-worth and trust. Mrs. Amanda was her rock, offering support and love. She sought professional help for Adanma, ensuring she received the best care possible. Slowly but surely, Adanma began to heal. She found solace in counseling, art therapy, and spending time with loved ones. As Adanma's confidence grew, she became an advocate for survivors of abuse. She shared her story, inspiring others to speak out and seek help. Mrs. Amanda's guilt and regrets never fully dissipated, but she channeled them into a fierce determination to support her daughter and prevent similar situations for others. Together, Adanma and Mrs. Amanda emerged stronger and their bond unbreakable. They proved that with love, support and courage, even the darkest experiences could be overcome. Adanma's journey to healing was so long. She faced many challenges and setbacks, but she refused to give up. With the support of her mother and a team of dedicated professionals, she slowly began to rebuild her life. She started attending therapy sections where she learned to confront her trauma and manage her emotions. She discovered art therapy, which became a powerful outlet for her feelings. She also joined a support group for survivors of abuse, finding comfort in the shared experiences and understanding of others. Adanma's mother, Mrs. Amanda, was her rock throughout the process. She attended therapy sections with Adanma, learning how to support her. She also sought counseling for herself. As Adanma progressed in her healing journey, she began to rediscover her passions and interests. She started writing again, finding solace in the creative expression. She also began to reconnect with friends and family, slowly rebuilding her social network. Adanma's healing journey was not without its challenges. She actually faced setbacks and triggers, moments of intense anxiety and fear, but she persevered, drawing strength from her support system and her own resilience. Through her journey, Adanma learned the value of self-care and self-compassion. She realized that healing was not about erasing the past, but about learning to live with it. She discovered that she was stronger than she thought, capable of overcoming even the darkest experiences. As Adanma's confidence grew, she began to share her story with others. She spoke to survivor support groups and advocacy events, using her voice to raise awareness about abuse and trauma. She became a source of hope for others. She decided to pursue a career in counseling, using her experiences to support and empower others. She enrolled in a graduate program with internships. Adanma's mother, Mrs. Amanda, couldn't be prouder of her daughter's progress. She had watched Adanma grow from a shy, withdrawn girl to a confident, passionate woman. She knew that Adanma's story will inspire others and make a real difference in the world. Thanks so much for watching this concluding episode of Adanma's Plight. And if this is your first time of watching my videos here, you're highly welcomed. Please kindly subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit the notification bell so that you will be among the first to be notified each time I post new videos. And to you, my returning subscribers, I appreciate you guys so much. You're simply amazing. Thank you very much for always finding out time to watch my videos. See you in my next one. Bye.